Production. Production. Blank Beats Production. Blank Beats Production.
Calling out all my nerds, freaks, and geeks. It's mob time.
Don't tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
Yo, what's up everybody? And welcome to another Blerd Mob production. I'm your host, Foop, joined by my two co-hosts, Ron and King. Make sure you guys check us out on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod. You can find us on Twitter at the Blerd Mob, and you can find us on TikTok and Facebook at the Blerd Mob Podcast. And if you're watching this right now and this is your first time watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button. And if you're watching this on Facebook Live, make sure you like the video, share it, and like the page. But all right. So we are here today to do a mob review on Invincible Season 2. I just realized this picture ain't have the title of the show on it, but y'all know who that is. Y'all know who that man is. It's Mark. It's Invincible. They know now.
This might be the episode that make them want to check it out, but they won't know the name of the show.
The show is called Invincible. So let me pull up the picture again. This is Mark Grayson, aka Invincible. The show is named after him, like Naruto is named after Naruto. This is Invincible.
Why he looks so beat up in the picture?
That's what we're gonna talk about. This is what we're here to talk about. Why he looks so beat up in the picture. But Invincible Season 2 debuted November 3rd, 2023, and then it took a hiatus, and then it came back in like March, and then ended April 4th, 2024. So, of course, if this is your first time watching a mob review from the Blerd Mob Podcast, I want to let you guys know that this mob review will be spoiler filled. So if you have not seen Invincible Season 1 or Season 2, or if you're not caught up with Season 2, I would advise you step out the live stream, go get caught up. Don't worry, this video will be available later as well as our audio platforms, so make sure you swing back and catch the discussion.
Like the video before you leave, though.
And hit that subscribe button. We got some more mob reviews on the way. So, but other than that, how are you guys doing on this lovely Wednesday?
They've been working me to death at work. You ever just feel mentally tired? Like physically, you're all right, but then you get off work and you're like, dang, I need to like go to sleep or something. Like, why do I feel like this?
I feel like that at least once or twice a week.
I feel like that for the past couple of days, but I'm chilling.
I feel it. I'm chilling too. I'm here.
You still celebrating 420.
Right. I was in my business. Like,
that's the most energy you done had all night. Look at you.
What are you saying? Like, we gonna get into it. Like, she asked how we was doing. I'm chilling.
And he just had to bust you out. He all up in here. We talking about each other day. He worried about what you doing.
See,
about his day.
I feel you. You know, I relax. It's my work day. I'm not all worked up anymore about work. I let that go. When 4:00 came, by 4:30, I wasn't thinking about work no more. What's work?
I feel that.
I feel you.
But as of
we gotta leave that at the workplace. Everything that happened, you live that at the workplace.
Laptop closed, phone on mute.
You just gotta let
They don't pay me overtime, so I can't let them stress me after hours.
You gotta let it go.
That's facts. How you living, though, food?
I am here. What King say? I am here.
We're here.
I got a long week ahead. It's been moving. I guess you would say it's been moving pretty fast, but I still got some things to knock out. I'm just looking forward to the weekend. Is this my life now? We just wait till the weekend. Every day it's just I can't wait till the weekend. Then the weekend come, and then it go like this. Monday show up. I just can't wait till the weekend.
Look, that's how it be once you get off of vacation. Our other co-host looked like he went on a second vacation. Mr. Hey y'all.
Antoine.
Hey Antoine.
Antoine, where you at? You in the islands?
Antoine, you must got 2 YouTube accounts, because last time you was in here, you had that SpongeBob profile picture, and you had underscores under every letter of your name.
It was probably under a different Google account.
This is professional.
This is more.
This is professional YouTube account.
And
Okay, now we talking to Antoine Hobson tonight, you guys.
Tonight
I
is
did.
Antoine Hobson.
I dated jump on the call from the island you at, Antoine.
When we you said this David. Hello, David.
Well, that's not Antoine.
Well,
Then.
this not
Hello.
What's good,
Antoine.
David?
Welcome to the
Happy,
podcast.
Welcome to the live stream.
happy
Gotta roll out
belated
the purple
birthday. Did I
carpet.
see his birthday just passed, or is today?
Was it yesterday?
It was one of them days. Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday from the Blerd
May
Mob
all your
crew.
dreams come true.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday from the Blerd Mob to you.
Happy
Whoa.
birthday.
All right. But I guess let's go ahead and hop into this review because Invincible season 2, they was not playing. I thought Omni-Man was bad. But when the rest of them Viltrumites showed up,
Yeah,
we gonna get into it. But let's start with
they are brutal.
Let's start with the first hot take. How did we feel about season 2 overall? And how did we feel about it in comparison to season 1?
I only got one issue, and it's similar to the issues we have with Attack on Titan. That hiatus did not help. Like this season, episode for episode, it was really good in real life. In real life, it was good. But that hiatus just threw the hype down the water for some reason.
I would have to agree. And to take a hiatus and then come back with 4 episodes felt weird to me.
Yeah, it's almost like the intensity died down or something. Like even within the actual story, it's almost like, wait a minute, I kind of forgot what happened in the first 4 episodes. I gotta remind myself what happened. I forgot how detrimental this upcoming scene is. Like it messed it up a little bit.
And I meant to look this up, but I don't know if they did that for season 1. I don't know if all the episodes came out at the same time or they just came out weekly.
I think they did.
They came out all at the same time?
No, I think it was releasing weekly because it was Amazon. I think it was releasing weekly, if I remember correctly.
Because Netflix does that sometimes where they release like the first half of, if it's a big anticipate. They didn't do it with Avatar. And I'm glad they didn't do it with Avatar because the way that went, that would have pissed me off even more. But they did it with Arcane. They did it with The Witcher. They did it with Stranger Things. They did it with You, where they split the season. They release it in different parts. And sometimes it hits depending on what the show is, and sometimes it misses. And I just feel like with Invincible, I feel like it missed. Because when it came back, like, yeah, I'm going to watch it. But like the traffic, the social media traffic for the first half of the season wasn't hitting like the second half.
True. I feel like it depends on if they get a good stopping moment. Because I think the moment they stopped it was right when the Viltrumites took his dad and he discovered his brother, right? And then we came back and he was helping the kingdom. In my opinion, on paper, that sounds like a good stopping point, but it's not. Like, we done waited in real life like a year to see Omni-Man come back, and now we see him, and now y'all going to make us wait a few more months after just seeing him and saying, okay, we're going to bring back the next 4 episodes. That's not how that worked. Y'all killed off all anticipation.
They done told Alan so bad, like,
they did
shit was getting hectic, and it was like, oops, no Invincible till March. And I was like, that's crazy.
Exactly. And like Antoine / David just said, by the time it all came out in the second part, I had to remember what happened in season 1. Like the stuff that happened to Alan felt like ages ago when we was watching episodes 5 through 8.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, the hiatus doesn't affect me until like in the moment. Now, as I'm looking back, I mean, I've watched it now, so I mean, but I feel like in the moment, yeah, they didn't have to take that long of a hiatus if they needed a hiatus at all. I mean, I don't know the reason is why they decided to wait months before releasing the second part. But yeah, I can agree. Hiatuses aren't needed for anything. Anytime somebody just inserts a hiatus in between something that's just really not needed for real. So,
yeah. It could have just been.
Maybe they just wanted to, stretch it out a little bit. Maybe they didn't want to, just run through it and us be on their neck about, okay, season 3. They're like, okay, let me split up season 2 for y'all because y'all do too much. Because I mean, like, had they released it all at once, we was gonna binge watch that in the first week. This live stream would have been happened months ago.
I wouldn't
had
say
they released it all at the same time.
I agree. I don't feel like they had to release everything on November 3rd. Like, here's all 8 episodes of Invincible. But if we were going to do the weekly thing, I would have preferred them to just be consistent with the weekly thing and not took the months off. Now, the reason of why they could have took off, because we all know the situation with like heavy animation. Invincible is very fight heavy, very gore heavy. So like trying to ship out all 8 of those episodes consistently might have been a challenge. The other end of it could have been what King also said. They wanted to stretch this out. And at least they didn't take the Attack on Titan route and really stretch that hoe out.
And I feel them on that because the attention span these days is.
But I just feel like the intensity. I just feel like the intensity of what Invincible is, and I want to compare this to how X-Men 97 is going. X-Men 97 has been back-to-back work. And if Disney Plus, if Marvel Animation was like, hey, we finna take a hiatus right here, that probably, to me, would have like ruined the back-to-back intensity that we've been getting these past couple weeks. Like what Ryan was saying, like the last episode that ended was that big Viltrumite fight or whatever. And on paper, I agree. On paper, that sounds like a good place to say, hey, we're going to stop right here for the hiatus. But after we've been getting that back-to-back work, and then coming off the hiatus and actually seeing what's supposed to come after that, y'all could have just gave me that next week and next week and next week. Like we didn't need no break.
So I see a few conflicting comments for why it got split up, because I see in an interview with they interviewed Robert Kirkman, and he mentioned that it was cut because of some production process issues. Like a lot of stuff took longer than they expected, and they probably didn't want to do like say JJK, where like they just finishing an episode a day before it launches, so that's why they split it up. But then Kirkman also said he didn't want to get lost in the shuffles of the holidays with everything going on in that time of the year, which I think is stupid. Because
they was releasing, but Disney was releasing Percy Jackson during the holidays. Like there was so much stuff releasing during the holidays.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think some people are a little disconnected because holidays aren't like they used to, where everybody's just spending months at a Walmart shopping. They're on Amazon.
I kind of feel them a little bit on that. It probably would have got lost in the sauce. Maybe that's how I kind of feel like them stretching it out, because like it just to keep us talking about it. Because I feel like had they given it all to us, we would have been moved on right now. We would be in the episode right now.
We'll be talking about it during the holidays.
But what I'm saying is, I understand why they stretched it the way they did. Because if they did it, we would, with our short as attention spans, we would have been moved on by now. We would have been begging for season 3, like right now, today in reality. Had they gave it to us quicker, we'd have been okay. Season 3, where y'all at? Where y'all at with season 3? They like to keep us calm. Let's stretch this out. We ain't gotta feed them every time. Let's stretch it out. Give them a little bit here and there. Gluttony. We talk about that. It's in the Bible. We can't gluttonize. We can't
feed us. But why wait till March? But why wait till March though? Like,
and
what?
And that's what I'm saying. Regardless, every series is going to have that moment where once it ends for the season, we're going to desire it. My whole thing is when you split an ongoing season and you didn't pick an actually good stopping moment, it feels disruptive to the viewing experience. I would rather y'all just released all of season 2 starting in March. Still do it on a weekly basis. I would just rather y'all delayed the entire season so we could get all 8 episodes. Or instead of doing hour-long episodes, just split them into 16 30-minute episodes.
I feel what y'all saying, but like as I'm sitting back listening to our discourse back and forth, we sound entitled as hell. We sound entitled telling them people like y'all should have did this with these. When like for one, we don't know what the hell was going on behind the scenes. For 2, we know our attention spans are short and we move on from stuff fairly quickly. Because think about all the shows that we watched during that time that they didn't want to release it. Are we still even having those shows in discourse now? I can't even remember what was released around Christmas time. I didn't even know Percy Jackson was released around that time because I forgot about it that quick. So to prevent all those things, they stretched it. I would do the same thing. If I know y'all gonna quit talking about my show a week after it's released, and I want y'all to keep talking about it and keep, doing this, doing that. I'm gonna stretch it. I'm gonna give y'all a 2
I mean,
month
we
hiatus.
stopped. I mean, we stopped talking about it anyway because they went on a 3-month hiatus.
And we're back talking about it now. We're back because they came back from the hiatus now.
Majority of the community.
But what I was saying before is that the traffic that I was seeing when the first 4 episodes came out is not the same traffic that I was seeing when it came back. And I feel like that's because of they taking a break. Like, I'm saying that I don't think they should have taken a break. I understand that there may have been some things on the back end that would have stopped that. And it happened. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I'm just saying, given what they did with Attack on, because it was the same thing with Attack on Titan. It's the same thing with all of these other shows where they release one part of the other show part of the season, and then they come back and do all of it. Like, the hype, it fluctuates.
And at the end of the day, seasons are already breaks with the content. Invincible has been finished through the comic book era, through its comic book format. So at the end of the day, if you're taking a mid-season break and you don't time it right, similar to Attack on Titan, now we're coming back for part 2 and we are confused. Or we done forgot what happened. Y'all could have just delayed the entire season. Now, if they plan something wrong, if it's their publishing, if it's some executives that told them, hey, we see what Netflix did, or we seen what some of these folks in the anime industry doing, let's split it up even more, well, then that's cool. I understand y'all are under contract. But if that's not the case, and this was a creative choice, it wasn't well done. Like, the community is already spoken online that they didn't appreciate it.
Like, I feel what y'all said about the discourse and the traffic slowdown, but at the end of the day, we all tuned in and still watched the second half of that season, whether we talked about it or not.
Yeah.
So it really didn't, I mean, it hurt them as in online going back and forth, but I bet you those viewers didn't drop because they took a hiatus.
I would like to see.
We all was mad as hell in front of our TV tuning in to episode, what was it, 5 or 6? Mad as hell that they coming back in March, lips in the air, but we still watching marking them on that TV. We about, oh, y'all didn't have to take no hiatus, but we still tuned in to it. So I feel like.
But it's sociology though, because when you say talking about it, essentially you're alluding to like the community still having conversations. At the end of the day, every community is going to stop talking about something at some point. But the community slowed down drastically on social media for Invincible because of how they forgot the stuff that happened between season 1 and season 2. I seen more tweets, more Instagram posts about, oh my gosh, why ain't I seeing nobody else talking about this? And I'm retweeting those posts because I do agree. I didn't see all the little what they call AMVs and everything else from people taking scenes from the show, adding some music behind it and hyping up Invincible. I didn't see that with part 2 because they lost everybody's attention. Plus they dropped part 2 when all these other series were coming out. That was bad timing in the first place.
Yeah, them dropping part 2 when X-Men 97 came out. Yo,
there was a whole lot of other stuff dropping.
I feel what you're saying, but even I had to realize this with other stuff like music, movies, like social media hype and discourse is only a fraction of what it really is in reality. So even though people wasn't talking about it on social media, they still could have been tuned in. Because with me, I didn't talk about it really, see part two of the season on social media, but I was still tuned in every week for every episode. I watched every episode faithfully. But I feel what you're saying, and I feel that should be more discourse, and they shouldn't do stuff like that. The breaks and stuff does slow down the discourse and talks, but I just feel like that's a small fraction of the bigger picture of the Invincible franchise and the image. The online conversations just it matters, but it doesn't matter.
I can just see it.
Like I feel like as long as people are still watching, their viewership is still up. What they talk on social media sometimes don't matter.
But I can
internet love and hate doesn't translate into real life though.
I agree, but I can
on there talking about it and they're not even watching it though. Y'all on there, what if they're talking about it based on what they see on social media? And at the end of the day, they're really not sitting out in front of the TV like you and I watching these shows.
I would say is that it could become an exhausting pattern because Invincible just got renewed for seasons 3, 4, and 5. And if they continue doing this, I just feel like this might be an exhaustive pattern. And even though this is their first time doing it and coming off of season 1, it like to agree with your point. Yes, we did still sit down and watch it. because we sucked up all those season 1 episodes all in one go. And then season 2 came out and everybody decided for season 2. But if they're going to continue to do some of these breaks, I can see it being like a tiring pattern that, season 3, but we getting 4 episodes, go on a 3-month hiatus, get 4 more episodes. Season 4 come out, then it's 4 more episodes. I just see it being a exhausting pattern. And
I feel you. And I also think that they may use it to shorten our wait time between the seasons, because when you think about between the end of season 1 and season 2, that was a long ass time.
I agree.
For Invincible. So I feel like maybe they use this hiatus so the time between season 2 and season 3 won't be that long, because we gave y'all hiatus and gave us time on the back end to get our shit together, fed y'all the rest of these episodes, got our shit together some more. So now we're ready to drop season 3 way earlier than what we did for season 2, just because we gave y'all a hiatus. Now, had we not given y'all that hiatus, y'all would be in our face talking about season 3.
But didn't they already announce? But here's my issue. Didn't they already say that this was a failed experiment? Like, didn't the showrunners basically say, hey, not only are we going to avoid waiting too long to produce season 3 and 4, but we're also not going to do another hiatus because they saw how it didn't work out for them?
I do remember them saying that the wait for season 3 was not going to be as long as the wait for season 2. And also, just to piggyback off of that, it's already happened, but I guess I do see it kind of weird that we had to wait all this time for season 2 for y'all to give us 4 episodes and go on a 3-month hiatus in December and come back in March just for 4 more episodes.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not mad at them, because you're right. We're going to watch regardless. But you got to understand how film industry works. If not enough people watch your current season as it's releasing to show the investors, hey, we should invest for future episodes, you shoot yourself in the foot. And let's just say, there was a 10-15% drop in viewership because some of the folks for the first half of season 2 was like, man, y'all done took this break, I'm gonna just wait to binge watch it. That lowers their projections for how they can get money for future investments. Y'all are better off just releasing the entire season on a weekly basis, not like the Netflix route, just on a weekly basis, and delivering on that, and then getting approved for the next seasons. They did get approved, but obviously me and Foop are saying something right, because now they're saying they're not going to do what they did with season 2 again. Not at all. So something did go wrong in their results and their projections.
But I agree with King, though. It's plausible that, because they're currently working on season 3. So it's plausible that season 3 is going to come out quicker, and they got everything together to where they can give us those back-to-back week episodes. I'm going to watch regardless, because I like the Invincible fan, but sometimes we have those casual watchers that sometimes that pattern is exhausting.
Keep in mind, most fans of any product are also casuals. People forget that part as well. For any video game, the majority of the fans are casuals, or TV series or movie.
Yeah. But I guess to bring it back on how I feel about season 2 in comparison to season 1, I think the intensity stayed. I think the brutality of it, the gore, pretty much stayed. I think this season, the way that it transitioned, I'll say this. The ending of this season, to me, didn't hit as hard as season 1's finale did, but I definitely see the build up with like the introduction with the additional Viltrumites, the thing that's going on with Alan, how Omni-Man's finna move. I think season 3 is going to like return to like that high stakes level of what we saw towards the end of season 1.
I would agree. Even though it didn't hit as hard as season 1, I also feel like this season was very, very plot heavy. Like, in terms of like the lore and the story, like the dude who helped Alan, and then you find out that there's a whole organization going against the Viltrumites. When you see how Mark discovered those comic books written by his dad, was he planning to betray them for the jump, or just putting little seeds out into the world to help you go against them? All the stuff they did, it's like, okay, you ain't have that scene of think Mark and seeing some dude beat his son up. Yeah, we ain't get that. But
you got him beating that man really good. Now that one part when he told Levi his up.
I gotta shout out my brother-in-law, because I gotta point it out. Mark been getting his ass whooped by everybody, But when you go and fight the black man, all of a sudden now you know how to fight to kill. I'm sorry. My brother-in-law pointed that out. How you let everybody beat you up?
But I mean, to counter that though, you got to at the beginning for the 80% of that fight, Mark was getting his ass whooped by that man.
He
you
was.
Gotta be honest though.
And
Mark was getting his ass handed to him, and the only reason that Mark actually fought back, I forgot what made Mark snap in that moment.
I think because didn't he break his mom? He broke his mama arm. He broke
he
when Levi.
Now he snapped.
When Levi finally,
all the other villains didn't take it that far with Mark, which is why he got his ass when the Vulture Bite lady came. They was there
and wrapped his girlfriend's neck.
She didn't hurt her though. She let her go, and Miss Girl went by her business. But Levi actually came, broke his mama ribs, threw the baby on the floor, and he was handling Mark for the first 80% of that.
He was. That whole episode was just Mark. I have to agree with King. That whole 80% of that episode was him still just stupid ass still flying through them portals and getting beat up by dinosaurs and shit.
Right.
Even then. I thought you were stronger than that. When you ain't do the Viltrumite later like that. You ain't do that. Them little Mars aliens and stuff. You ain't do them like that.
But let's talk about Anissa. But let's talk about Anissa though. First of all, he didn't have to worry about that because old dude told him on the back end, said, "Hey, you don't want that smoke. You don't want that." And when Levi showed up, the communication was cut off between him and Cecil. He ain't have nobody in his ear.
There at some point.
And he didn't get there. Like King just said at the bottom, he broke his mama arm and threw that baby on the floor. It was.
And I also feel like Levi is strong as in his powers, not physically. All Mark's other opponents have been physically strong, minus superpowers. They just handling Mark based on
I didn't know Levi was that strong until he put his hands on him. I thought his gimmick was the portals the whole time.
Right. And Levi, he did his little 1-2. And when he actually started fighting Mark with his hands, he still was handling Mark until the very end. So Mark got his ass whooped until the last 30 seconds of the fight.
But I would agree with Ron because I did say the same. You remember we was watching that episode, King? I said, look at that. I was like, look at them turning the black man to the villain.
Look, that's all I'm saying. I just didn't like that. Oh, your first kill, your first real kill, when you really got into it, is this man over here that you already hurt a little bit.
But I have a real deal.
You part of the other ones though. Think about it. All the other people he fought. Could he really kill them?
He wasn't killing Nissa. I'm sorry.
And think about his daddy. He wasn't killing his daddy. Then he fight Immortal. He didn't kill Immortal. His daddy had to jump in and help him. So just think about it though.
He could have whooped Immortal. I
don't think he would have whooped Immortal. He's not experienced enough to whoop Immortal. I feel like
Ralph said Mark was definitely holding back until that point of fighting him.
Look, and why can't you keep holding back for the black man? I don't know.
See,
I don't know, Mark.
Now you want to tell me
I don't know, Mark. I don't know. You hold back. He held back for everybody else. He held back for everybody else.
I have a real good question. I have
holding back for other people. I just feel like he just wasn't on their power level. Even with Immortal, Immortal has more battle. What do you call it? Battle skills. So even if Mark is physically stronger, Immortal has been in way more. But that man is over 1,000 years. Years old.
I think what it is that the issue that Mark was trying to balance in this season was him not turning out as Omni-Man.
Yeah.
So going back to Ralph's point for him holding back, he was probably holding back because when he did let loose, he beat that man head in. His 16 brains was scattered across that desert. But his whole internal conflict was he didn't want to turn out to be like his dad. Because if y'all remember in season 1, when Omni-Man went to go handle some business, Omni-Man went to go handle that business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mark was just struggling with the fact that he didn't want to be like that. So when he finally hit that point, when he finally did let loose, he beat that man head in. Unfortunately, he wasn't as strong as he thought he was. Now, had he let loose on the rest of his opponents, he probably could have beat him. But when he finally he let loose, I would say this. He let loose on the wrong person.
I feel it. It just made me go
the writers. Like, why put his weakest opponent as a black man? Like, I still stand on like all
But okay, I want to ask a question.
Like,
but I want to ask. But I
let loose on Anissa or his dad or who else did he fight? I would even say more. Mark would have lost. Mark just ain't there. He's a baby, Viltrum. He ain't there yet. So Levi was the perfect. Like he's physically strong, but he's not really, dad. He ain't really just been out here battling. So let me,
But my thing is,
I made that black man that weak.
Like, can I say this though? I want to ask a real deal question because I'm thinking back on the plot because, like Ryan said, this was very plot heavy. Other than the fact that of Mark finally killing somebody, what the fuck was Angstrom Levi there for?
Remember, he was traveling to.
No, I understand why he's there, but like, let's plot wise, like, why was he there?
Because that's the mark that messed his head up.
Was supposed to help him. That was the mark that was supposed to help him. But before he could meet Mark busted in on him and thought he was doing some more shit and fucked up his shit. Now he don't like the Mark no more. That's how I saw it. Because Mark was supposed to help him. Remember,
I'm just saying.
And his head was messed up too. Like, it wasn't just that he was getting revenge. He also had a whole bunch of different thoughts of, oh, I know you're the good Mark, and I recognize this is an accident, but I saw all the other ones do me dirty.
What I'm asking, I guess what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at. As I don't see, other than the fact of Mark finally letting loose, I just felt like all of the Angstrom Levi pieces didn't feel like connected to the plot of this season.
It did, because it alluded to the fact that Mark was going to, but that Mark had the rune to become a bad guy, because Angstrom Levi basically said, we got all these alternate universes where you join your dad. And Mark's internal struggle is, I don't want to be like my dad, even though my dad invited me to join him.
But like
Angstrom Levi basically added to the viewer's experience.
But Mark never saw any of those. But my thing is, Mark never saw those universes. I get what you're saying. But my thing is that Mark never saw those universes. And then we get to the final episode, and then everything's just hammering in on this last episode.
But you also got to think that Levi also told Mark that, and you got to remember that was the only Mark in all the universes that could help him. If you remember, like, all the infinite Marks was on his daddy's side. That was at the beginning of the season. He was like, this is the only Mark that I feel like will help me in this fight. Come to find out, Mark busted in on some police shit and fucked up everything.
But my whole thing is he showed up on that first.
I remember that Mark being the only Mark that'll not go. That was the only Mark that didn't choose his dad's side. But the rest of the Marks went with the dad.
My whole thing is that he showed up on that first episode, got big brained, and then disappeared for the rest of the season, and then came back on the last episode and broke his mama's arm. That's where the disconnect. That's where the disconnect is happening for me.
I'll say two things. I feel like one is disconnected because of the hiatus we talked about, because it feels like it's a long. It feels like it's a long time ago, but like you said, it was episode 1 versus episode 8. Mm-hmm. 2. He had all them issues going on in his brain, and maybe that's going to be a callback in season. That might be a callback in season 3 or 4. Did he go to another time zone, another universe, and set some other stuff up? Because he was sending Mark to all them universes, like he knew where Mark was at. Well, he knew exactly where he was sending him.
Because I haven't read the comic books, so don't spoil it for me. If Langstrom Levi is just a small pebble in a big pond for season 3, I'll let them have it.
And wouldn't it be like a small drop? Is it a pebble or is
it a ripple?
I think I feel
something like that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if they introduce Levi to hone in on that multiverse theory, traveling between universes.
But they didn't do so much.
Because I think that'll tie heavy into season 3 when they're trying to fight the Viltrumites, going to other verses, maybe they might find another Mark or another. What's his name? What's his dad's name?
Omni-Man. Nolan.
He's Nolan. So maybe they might travel universes and they might come across another Mark of Nolan that might help. So maybe they want to tie because in season 1 they only did the the universe travel thing when the aliens came over that one episode and they fought that big mob of aliens. And they didn't really touch on interdimensional travel after that. So I feel like this might be their way of tying that into the plot. We can travel between dimensions. So now we're going to use that to our plot to where, because you remember when they saved Mark, they said by the time that they figured out everything, they had 3 time machines, interdimensional machines built by the time they went back and saved him. So maybe that'll be a part of the plot where they jump between. Ooh, my camera's being weird. Where they jump between all that and do all of that, because they had to. If they were going to use it, they had to figure out a way to introduce that into the plot without just bam, we can travel between the dimensions. I feel like that was a good way to do it.
I just feel like the placement of it is weird because, like, I feel like the Viltrumite. You had the Viltrumite storyline where like they're coming, and then we get to the last episode, and Levi shows back up, and we don't. And I was like, okay, and then 80% of the episode is Levi.
I feel 2 ways. I kind of agree with Ralph that he in the comment he just put where he could see Levi turn into a Kang situation. Yeah. I could see him becoming a recurring villain alongside the Viltrumites, because something Invincible has proven to us is that they will come up with various villains, just like that little lizard gang that they had up in here. That's
yeah. Oh my god!
We can get to it. We can get to that. But I do think that we ain't heard the last of Levi, or rather the rest of his versions out in the universe.
I think so too.
And I would say maybe that's that version, Big Brain. I'm gonna call him Big Brain Levi.
Big Brain.
Levi Neutron. I think we not gonna see no more of him. Or if I want to hop in on Ron's point, we don't know what he was doing in the other universes between episode 1 and episode 8. So there could be some more Levi Neutrons walking around.
Yeah, he might bust out, his like Ryan, like to Ralph's point, they might all get together and try to avenge, because he was the superior Levi out of all of them. So maybe they're gonna get together and avenge they brethren, they fallen brethren.
That's just gonna be
because weren't they all connected in the machine? Remind me, in the machine they was all connected, but he was the one that got Big Brain.
The ones that he had, but if I can remember, I think he was, correct me, was he the only Levi that actually had the power of teleportation?
I think
he
so.
He went around and collected all the other ones, because the other ones didn't really have power. They was just regular Levi.
I think he's the only one that had powers.
One that could teleport. Yeah.
Okay. He might be a recurring villain.
I just feel like that's gonna be so much going into the next season because because I'm just thinking about everything that just got lined up this season. The Viltrumites, that whole thing. That's a whole arc in itself. The Viltrumites, and then we want to add in this multiverse. So I like going back to King's thing. I can see how they would connect it if it's like, hey, we on some Avengers Endgame shit, and we need all y'all to come out these portals and fight these Viltrumites. I can see it, but if they don't do it that way, I just feel like that's a lot.
But you also got to remember that Levi's original goal was to stop the Viltrumites. So they might have their little 1-2 at the beginning, but then he might circle back and be like, you know what, Mark? Our ultimate goal is to stop your people. So let's do that and handle that. So it might go like that. He might not even be a big villain. He might be like a little minor, little 1 episode, 2 episode villain. And he really have a real awakening and be like, let's get back to business. I've been fighting Mark long enough. Let me get back to what I'm here for. He might do that, but it could go, they play around and got these different story arcs going on in our ass, then we'd be looking crazy.
And even if none of that does happen, at least Eve got to tell her man that she wanted him instead of sitting here acting fake in front of Amber.
That was the messiest shit of the whole season.
Because let's just talk about it. Otherwise, if Eve's future self ain't tell Mark how she felt, she would have been fake trying to avoid cracking a smile when Amber told him they broke up. Because Eve was over here like, yeah, girl, you know what? You don't deserve that. He doesn't either, by the way. But y'all broken up? Come on now.
So y'all
Eve was in there happy. Eve was in there happy.
I feel Eve though. Like if you like,
I do too.
That's my man.
She wasn't disrespectful.
Like if somebody was with my man and they came to me for advice, listen, I'm gonna try to be the best you can be for my man, girl.
She didn't overstep no boundaries. Didn't encourage no cheating. Didn't do nothing wrong. She was respectful. She played the game fair.
She did, but me and Fu was talking about this. We was watching the Amber and Mark thing. It did feel kind of forced. Like they kind of kept hinting at them not being together. Like I don't know. It just gave like
it was the popping in it that they trying to go to college together, and on the surface level, I understood the struggle. You dating a superhero, y'all trying to be in college together. He trying to live a normal life, but you know he's a superhero. You can't do all that stuff. But it didn't feel like a natural, like leading towards a breakup. Like there was so many like he pop up for a couple minutes, then he gotta leave. He pop up. I guess that leads to the whole breakup thing. But like what King, I feel how King feels, that it felt like force.
I'm laughing at Ralph's comment. That's funny. I would have did the same thing. After that lunch, girl, you can have them.
That's what I'm saying. For me, it made sense. Like it didn't feel like the writers like third party. It didn't feel like the writers were trying to force the relationship. It felt like the actual characters in the show was trying to force a relationship. And in my opinion, that's good story writing. Because now as a viewer, I'm like, okay, when are y'all finna end this? And like Ralph said, I too.
That's a good way.
Someone put their around my throat like that.
Talking about if you move, they gonna break my neck.
Look, I could be dating Wonder Woman, Batgirl. I don't care who it is. Superman came over here and put his hand around my throat over you. I'm out. My name Emmett. I ain't
agree with that though. Hey. That's how it felt. It felt like they were like it. I could agree with it. It didn't feel like the writers were fortunate. It felt like those two were fortunate in the show. Like I could feel.
That's a good point of view, because that's how I was feeling. And every episode I was like, okay, they must gonna break up this episode. No, okay, they must gonna break up this episode. No,
but Portia, she was a woman of color. You're supposed to root for her.
I think it's also because like we're a little bit older, so we've seen relationships that are like doomed to fail. So we just sitting here like, come on now, y'all, girl, go find you a college frat dude. Mark, go date you a superhero girl. Get on out of there. This ain't working.
Room full of Blerds says someone palmed my hair like a basketball, and my man is in checkmate. The life for me. The way she came up so fast, like they in the middle of like eating salad.
Baby girl couldn't even move. She just sat there like couldn't even freaking move. Come on now, and her man too weak to do something about it. Oh, what's the girl name? Alyssa or something?
Anissa was gonna cut up.
Anissa said by the time you move to try to save her, she dead. What you gonna do?
And come on, man. And
come on now.
I feel where Ron's coming from, and thinking about it, I agree. I guess to me it was just painful to watch, because I was like, y'all not making this work. Like I feel y'all for trying to make this work, but it's not working.
Wait, what did Ralph say? Don't let it be pollen outside, because I'm coming with the wind.
That's so funny.
Hey, Ralph, jump in the stream, Ralph. What you doing?
Yeah, he said he's talking about he wasn't gonna have no strong opinions, but he
got the most coming to the chat.
Y'all see how he do? He's supposed to be up here with us. With them same comments, he would have been speaking word of mouth. But
he just ain't want to record. That's all it was. He feel like getting dressed. We get it.
Yo, can we talk about, because we've been talking about Anissa a lot, but I want to talk about the rest of them Viltrumites. That one with that braid that showed up on that plane.
The blade at the end of the braid, and she was spinning it around.
When Omni-Man did that, he elbowed her in the mouth, and I was like,
and broke her jaw off, bro.
I was like, is that gonna be a Mortal Kombat? Like,
hey, that Omni-Man MK gameplay is nice. I played with him. He's brutal.
But I was like, I thought, going back to what I said at the beginning of this live stream, I thought Omni-Man was bad. When those Viltrumites pulled up, they was in Omni-Man's ass, and I was like, oh, and it was such a like a wake-up call. It was such a like coming to terms moment of like how brutal these Viltrumites is, because we are coming off season 1 on how bad Omni-Man did Mark, and then these Viltrumites come out and told Omni-Man's ass in, and I was like, yo,
My whole thing is that these folks getting a gut splattered across their stomach, and they still surviving. They still surviving after this. Keep in mind, Omni-Man got towed up, and we seen him in episode 7 and 8 meet out. He's good. The man just getting back in the gym now. Come on now, that's scary.
And I want to say this when the episode first started. I want to dedicate this whole episode to Alan. Alan is my favorite character in the whole series. Alan's giving me glue. It's giving me he the one that's going, hold it together and really break it home for us. He the one moving the pieces in the background to line everybody up to handle business. Shout out to Alan.
He doing the work on the back. He doing the work on the back end.
He is, and it's Amazon Prime, and them subtitles are spelling his name wrong. I don't like that, but yeah, shout out to Alan.
They did. They changed the way they spell his name.
Because it was first ALAN, and they changed it to ALEN, regular Alan. No, ALAN gives like one alien. Yeah, it gives alien, But yeah, shout out to Alan.
One full of Blerds said, I feel like maybe don't get attached to Alan. Oh, shit.
Alan already died one time when my feelings was hurt. So whatever happened to Alan after this, I'm prepared for. When he died the first time, I was crushed. I was like, nah, Alan, he's so like.
But they told him in and had his baby watching for the rest of when I tell you Invincible does not care.
It doesn't.
They did do that.
Because the way they snatched him out that restaurant and they hit him so hard, his eyeball came out his head. And he in space, so there is no gravity. So imagine you getting punched, your eyeball come out, and you can't even see it floating in space.
I forgot that scene.
They told
him how hard you have to punch somebody in space for their eye to come out.
Yo,
no gravity, no inertia.
That's
nothing. But
and that's
strength, the brute strength. That's crazy.
And that's all I'm saying is that them Viltrumites, this Viltrumite war, like that, whatever is about to happen in season 3 with these Viltrumites, Mark, I need Mark to come with the terms that yes, he did beat Jimmy Neutron's head in, and I need him to lock in because you're going to have to do it again.
The only thing I could see happening, because I know Omni-Man was talking about this imaginary like gun or laser beam or whatever that could possibly take him down. I think they just gonna have to split the Viltrumites from the inside out like a Civil War type situation. Because Vanessa was balling her fist up at old dude, giving her commands like she didn't want to hear all that. Because I just don't see any other way they could win.
I think there's already like political discourse because it's Thetis. Whoever, Optimus Prime.
When you remember when I texted you about that, I was like, that dude sound like Optimus Prime.
And I went back and watched it again. I was like, that's Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime, you find out that he's a Viltrumite that split off. So that already tells you, one, even though Omni-Man did what he did at the end of season 1, it became very apparent at the beginning of season 2 that Omni-Man wasn't supposed to do it. Like, he was going against the grain to begin with. So that already tells you that there's political discourse in the Viltrumite society that everybody's not rocking with what's going on. But you got some people who's doing it just if I don't know too much about Anissa's situation, but I guess like sort of that thing where it's like I'm just following you for like my own means or something like that. But
or she's scared she'll get killed. Yeah. But I also feel like there's division, but I feel like it's one of those things to where, like, yes, we all have the same end goal, but the way it's being executed is what I don't like. So I just feel like some of the Viltrumites don't like the way the other ones are executing the vision.
Yeah, but everybody's so powerful. But my whole thing is that everybody's so powerful, and we've already know that everybody got to fight. Like, you have to fight for your place. So if we all like super strong, and I fought for my place to be here, what makes you higher than me?
But the interesting thing is also they have this culture where they're scared to eliminate each other, or rather, not scared. They just try to do everything they can to avoid offing each other. Like they literally told Omni-Man, "You still have time to join us back." She went to Invincible. I don't want to kill you, kid. Like you're supposed to join us. It almost makes me want to see if they're going to refer back to season 1 where they said, "Oh, we kill each other off to decide who's actually a part of the Empire." Did they actually kill each other off? Is there something traumatic about the fact that y'all killed y'all friends?
I was gonna say hop on that. I was going to say maybe they just don't have a lot of Viltrumites. Like
that's what I was going to say.
Like they may be low on numbers to where they just can't off everybody who goes against the grain.
I feel like, I could agree with that. I feel like that comes from them doing it the first time. They going against each other, killing off all the weak ones. And now we got a limited number of Viltrumites. We need all we can get. We strong, but we're stronger in numbers. So I feel like, they especially
if you got people like Omni-Man who's not, going to planets, and he on there for 20 plus years writing books and shit. You got Optimus Prime, who's been working this whole resistance thing. Like
Alan, who got a new body and can kill a Viltrumite right now. Al can kill a Viltrumite right now. So you got stuff like that. Like
Roomful of Blerd said, "Do we want slaves or genocide?" That's the type of time they might be on.
Well, if I had to choose,
but that's a good question though, because one, they went to Mark and it was like, okay, get Earth ready to assimilate. But then it was like, let's kill it. I
almost want to know if they want Earth to assimilate so they can increase their species, because they look at Mark, because human is close enough to Viltrumite in terms of like genetic makeup. They're like, nah, you full Viltrumite. We don't even care that you're half human. Nah, you full Viltrumite in our eyes. Are they trying to conquer Earth so that they can boost their population and do the process all over again? Let's get rid of the weak ones, get the strong ones, so the empire's at the top. Is that their goal?
That could be their goal now, but when they sent Omni-Man there, Omni-Man wasn't supposed to have no kid, because that's the whole conflict with him having the other kid. He wasn't supposed to
and I also
mix breed.
That Omni-Man told Mark that he wasn't as strong as him because he was only half Viltrumite.
Right, but going to Ryan's thing, if we're talking about the fact that they're limited in numbers, and human is the closest in biology to Viltrumite, to the point where it's now been proven that they can breed with human and have a half human, half Viltrumite, and he's not as strong as a fully blooded Viltrumite, but he got some heat on him. The plan might be assimilate Earth so we can regrow our Viltrumite population.
That, and my question is, like, what do they look at as full-blooded Viltrumite? Because remember, old dude said after they beat up Mark and his dad in episode 4, whenever that scene happened, they said, "Oh, you passed. You are a Viltrumite. Follow the rules of our empire. Get Earth ready." He ain't even look at him and say you're half human. He just said the world you was born in, because you're a Viltrumite in our eyes.
Well, so, that could also go back to the fact that they see Earthlings, humans, as less. So like we're not going to acknowledge your lesser half of you. If he would have lost that fight, if he had not proven himself, he would have said the opposite.
A puny human, pitiful human,
and I agree with that. That's what I think. That's what I think. They probably didn't give us all the details into when they did season 1, and they explained how the Viltrumite Empire even forms, and Omni-Man gave the background. I think that's what it was. All those people was like another planet similar to Earth. Y'all got a similar genetic makeup. We're gonna kill off the weak ones, keep the strong ones. That's what I'm thinking. Like they on some Frieza stuff, like monkeys. Like if you ain't Viltrumite, you a monkey.
That's crazy. That's nasty. Weird.
That's what Frieza be on. That's what Frieza be on.
Frieza do be on it. And
monkeys. Yeah, like what Roomful of Blerds was. It's one drop rule. You got that one drop of Viltrumite and you strong too. You Viltrumite is what it is.
I
don't know now. You can't send all of them out there because Mark. You sent Mark out there. He just we just talked about only time he came through. With
but now that he knows, but I feel like season 3 is gonna be him coming to terms with the fact that he can, and now this is really going to be that determining fact of what makes him different from Omni-Man.
And I really want to see that because I've been very disappointed in how Mark been getting his ass handed to him since I met him from episode 1, season 1.
Yeah, like Taika.
I really want him. Yes, I really want him to have that moment of coming to power. Like I'm really a Viltrumite. Let me cut up like one and just cut up. And I'm gonna be like, okay, Mark, I'm with you. But as of right now, I'm not Team Mark because I know you're stronger than what you are. You be playing with everybody, and we tired of you playing. Because I felt like Anissa would have whooped you, but you'd have made that bitch not want to come back to Earth no more. She would have still.
I don't think so. I don't think so because the way like the simplest stuff she was doing was knocking him, turning him every which way. She didn't even break a sweat.
Because remind me, he held his own against the braid with the blade girl, wasn't he? He was doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was doing all right in that fight.
But Cecil specifically told Mark that she's basically she's basically a different breed.
And I feel like they got in his head though, because didn't nobody tell him that when he was fighting other people, and he got on down too.
But he was all the way in space. He didn't have Cecil in his ear analyzing nobody.
What if Anissa was the same power level as other people?
He also had Omni-Man for backup too.
I feel like he wouldn't have won. But I feel like he really just stepped into that Viltrumite, that bag, and really got out there with her. They would have fucked up her. Don't get me wrong, they would have down. But I think that also may have been part of his hesitation, because along with him trying to, space out with Anissa, this monster is on this cruise ship. Yeah, it is.
So even if he did want to fight her, they was gonna tear the club up.
Fish to fry.
FTCU.
My whole thing is, I know Mark is the name of the show. Invincible is the name of the show. At some point, he is going to be the strongest one here. But I think right now, Anissa could just wipe him off the floor. Like there's levels to the Viltrumites. Like Omni-Man is celebrated. He's seen as a mighty monster by them other Viltrumites, and they saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm laying a hand on you right now." Anissa's look like she up there with him.
It's the fact that she snuck up on him and he didn't see it coming, and like
that wasn't no sneak. That was a one-on-one. She said, "Meet me in the shop."
No, I'm talking about when she showed up. When she showed up at the restaurant. Like they just sitting there eating salads and shit.
But after that, that's your perfect moment to rage out. She said, "Meet me. We can get a battlefield. Let's go."
I just feel like
she would have whooped
me personally, I think Mark would have lost real bad.
That's what I'm saying. He would have got off.
I feel like he would have lost, because I just keep thinking about the scene when him and his daddy was fighting other Viltrumites on that planet. We thought Mark was going to get his ass handed to him, but Mark came, even though he got his ass whooped.
He was wheezing.
Who said they were Anissa level? Who said they was on?
They could be though. Only reason we felt like Anissa is strong because we heard Cecil in his ear telling him, "Oh, she's strong. Don't fight her." But who's to say the motherfuckers who's fighting the other planet were stronger than Anissa? And he got in his bag and did his big one. He lost. I'm not saying he would have won, but I feel like he still did his big one because he stepped into that Viltrumite bag and handled his business. He killed one. He took one with him on that planet. Bitch with the braids got her neck twisted. He took her to the grave.
Viltrumite
to the grave.
Here's the thing. This shows the day different. Baby girl is a little bit older. I don't know how age affects Viltrumites, and she had to put a blade on her hair. Anissa had cut hair. She said, regardless of what going down, I'm boxing. She don't even
remember with Viltrumites though, age is you get stronger with age. That's what I thought with Viltrumites. Like the more you, because they really don't age like humans. So the more planets you go conquer, the more years you've been alive, you get. Which is why Nolan is so strong, because he's conquered thousands of planets. He's been alive hundreds of years. So I feel like with the age thing, I feel like girl with that braid, the old lady, it's giving old level military.
How much of Dragon Ball Z have you watched, Galvin?
I didn't watch that.
None of it. No, baby girl with the braids and old dude. They giving Raditz. Anissa giving Broly for any anime fans. That's a different scale. They all super. They all fans. But Raditz no freaking Broly.
We don't know that, dog. I just feel like we understand that because Cecil told Mark about Anissa.
But we saw it though. Even Cecil said it, and then we saw it. Cause me personally, she could have did way worse than what she did. Like honestly, like she was barely touching that man, and they.
But what I'm saying though, like
even that sea creature
was cutting up too. Are y'all forgetting when they was fighting other people? Like they cut up too. Like they killed everybody that was there, except for Mark and Nolan. They cut up bad.
But you're going off the illusion that means they're on the level of Anissa. Me and Foop are saying Anissa is stronger than them because the way she even attacked that monster was she fizzled. Boom! Went through his chest. Mark was struggling.
Those other ones couldn't do that though. We only feel like Anissa is stronger because I feel like because of what Cecil
They ain't even destroyed a planet like her. They ain't even destroyed a planet like she could.
I just feel like they're at least on the same level. I don't feel like Anissa, because I feel like if Anissa's as strong as we say she is, she wouldn't be in the room balling her fist up, mad at her boss. She'll cut up. If she is strong,
that just means the boss is. That means the boss stronger than her.
She wouldn't be, because when she walked in that room, it was hella people above her. Like she had to stand like a soldier at attention while everybody else was talking to her. I just feel like Anissa. Feel like Mark let Cecil get in his head. What the room full of Blerd said, his depression was in his head. His situation with Amber, his mom and him. I just feel like he was all in his head about what was going on.
Ain't nobody got to get me in my head to tell me that chick could rock my shit. Ain't nobody got to get in my head to tell me she could whoop me.
The other ones could be just as strong as her, though. We don't know that. We don't know that. You see how they did? You see how they did Alan in space? Told his ass out the frame.
And Anissa wasn't there, to what I remember.
Oh no, I would like to see it.
I would like to see Mark getting that bag.
I would say to counterpoint Room Full of Blerd's comment, they said they sent 3 people to take out Mark and Omni-Man. Really, they only sent 3 people to take out Omni-Man because did they even know Mark was there?
Yeah, they didn't know Mark was there.
They sent 3 people for Omni-Man.
And Mark
was just there. They sent Anissa for Mark because they probably
it's Mark.
It's Mark.
But here's what I'm saying: if Omni-Man is a legend, even amongst Viltrumites, that still don't mean he's the strongest. Anissa, just by rank, we can assume she's relatively close. Them 3 other Viltrumites that was sent after Omni-Man, Anissa wasn't amongst them. And the leader came out of his own ship and said, Mark, hey, by the way, we taking your dad. And he been the one talking smack to Omni-Man the entire time.
I would say this so we can move on to the next thing.
No,
I would say
this real quick. If Anissa was that strong, why not send them to fight Nolan? Why not send just her to rock Nolan shit?
Because the other 3 got the job. The other 2, the girl with the braid and old dude, got the job done. They called it.
That could be. I don't know.
It worked.
It worked. She say, she is strong as you're trying to put. Why not just send her out there to handle Nolan? Go 1, 2, bring him back.
You don't send your best every time. You don't send your best out on the first mission. You send them out on the 5th.
Oh my god!
For her best though, why would I send some 5 peasants?
Nolan ain't even at his best yet. They said, "Oh, how the great Nolan has fallen."
Can I say this though? I would just say one of my hopes for season. All I would like to say for season 3, I would like to see how the hierarchy is set up for the Viltrumites as far as like status and strength, because that's gonna solve this whole debate.
It is.
It's gonna solve this whole debate once if we get a breakdown of like the hierarchy of like strength and like what makes this Viltrumite, above this Viltrumite. Like once we understand those social levels, all of that's gonna make sense.
They finna bring out power levels. This finna be on some Hunter, Dragon Ball.
but then it will make sense, and then it would also allow us to really, if the idea is that Mark is going to get stronger and come more into like his Viltrumite heritage, it's going to allow us to be able to pinpoint where his strength is in comparison to all of
the other ones,
to these Viltrumites. But
Ralph said we need to talk about the Lizard Gang.
That's what I was trying to move on to, y'all, on the back and forth. Because I was going to say, we've been talking about the Viltrumites and Omni-Man and Mark for a while, but I did want to get into the side characters, the Guardians of the Globe, the other villains that showed up, the Lizard League, the whole situation with Donald. Like, how do we feel about that?
I feel like with the Lizard League, them Guardians went in there and they underestimated that Lizard League. They did.
I kind of predicted the thing with the girl who cloned herself, because I was like, it don't make sense for you to risk your life every single time knowing that you're not the strongest person ever. So when they showed her, I was like, okay, I predicted that, and it's smart. It makes sense. That scene was epic. But Rex getting shot in the head and surviving, I had to do some research, and I was like, "Oh, people do survive these type of wounds." But when it happened, I was like, "Ah, come on
So
now,
you
who
just
are you?"
get shot in
So
the
you
head and
just got.
die.
But I mean, the way that it
That's what I
happened though,
thought.
like because didn't it end? Didn't the episode end with him getting shot in the
Yeah,
head?
he got shot.
Yeah, and
But you got to think about the place he got shot at. Like
That's
it
true.
it was on the corner over there.
yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere. Now
it
he
wasn't
got
like.
shot in
But
here.
But I definitely agree that they went in there and they underestimated Lizard League.
And
Like they was just like, oh, this Lizard League. Oh, okay, we finna handle this. Do our little 1-2 come back? When I knew it was going downhill, when that big guy grabbed both Kates and romped them together, I said, I was like, y'all are done. Y'all are done.
Look.
And in the second bad thing, when it really got bad, is when
Girl got
the shrinking girl
Mhm.
and she called herself trying to grow inside of him. And I was like, okay, that's smart. Because I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, she finna go big and like, explode him. When he started
flexing his muscle,
I was like, oh, that's so bad.
I thought about that because I was like, what is he doing? I was like, he's flexing because she's not stronger than him. So regardless of how big she grows, she's gonna break her bones. That was smart on his behalf, though.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to Rex though, because I never liked or appreciated or respected his character until I saw that man fight for his life. When I saw him fight for his life, I said respect. He said, I'm going out with a bang. You can take a chunk of my skull out. I'm going out with a bang, and I respect that, bro.
Get that hand out too.
He did that. He did that, bro.
With them bones, he
Look, you shot me in the
but
head. Like, you get that.
That was like they was knocking him down.
Yeah.
And I guess what they're also setting up is that we losing Guardians too. Like this whole Viltrumite war is gonna have like that General Craig, they're coming back. Let's not forget they are coming back to Earth to see if Mark is doing his thing. Anissa just went up there and said he not. So they finna come back. We have the Guardians is done. Immortal then left. Duplicate got one. She not going back. The way they cut her, Lizzie, they cut up on her back. I don't see her coming back. Rex is done.
Going back.
At this point, Rex is done. Monster Girl can't use her powers unless she just want to turn into an infant by the end of the season. You got the boy in the robot suit, but if they rip him out that robot suit, then what? We running out of people.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk
teams though, but they not the Guardians are like the Justice League, but they got some lower level ones. They got a few Teen Titans and stuff down the line, but they're not as strong. I think the Guardians is as good as it get though.
And I want to know, did y'all notice that potential foreshadowing when Rex and Eve, the future variants of them, went to go save Mark from that different universe, and it was Rex inside of that robo suit and not the actual robot dude who turned himself human? I thought that was interesting. I was like, is that foreshadowing that eventually Robo Dude's life is shortened or something?
But you gotta remember though, like Robo Dude, he is Rex. That's Rex.
He did use his DNA.
That's
Rex. But he goes by a completely different name and everything. Eve talked to him like regular Rex. I just can't remember his name.
Unless they
did some scientific shit when the little boy grew up and like maybe merged because I feel like did he talk and do did he talk? Because he didn't give Rex when he talked.
I thought he did say something.
He said something like, "Why would you weren't supposed to do that?"
Yeah,
Eve,
he
or
wasn't.
Something
You
like
weren't supposed
that.
to tell him you weren't supposed to tell him that or something.
Like a piece of me thinks like, is they going to save Rex's life in the future? Like since his brain messed up, is he going to merge with Robo Dude, put his mind up in there,
or do they make another clone? Of him.
That too, because he can do that.
Because the little kid, little Rex, is not really like a full out clone of Rex. He just used his DNA to get him a body.
Yeah, he used
which
a vessel.
Basically a clone, right?
It's a different.
But he has a different conscience and stuff like that.
It's not like he's a baby conscious, like starting from the ground up. He has his own mind pre-developed. He's just using Rex's body as a vessel.
Body.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, or it could be like with Rex's whole brain situation. Maybe they had to put him in the suit.
That's what I'm thinking. I thought that was like probably potential foreshadowing for me, at least.
I mean, it could be the whole future thing. It seemed like shit got bad.
Yeah,
It got rough. Like if Mark went missing, because let's just like fast forward to 20 years. If Mark went missing and the Viltrumites came back, what's going on? And then if we want to go back to Levi, maybe some of his realities were foreshadowing what could happen if Mark disappeared and the Viltrumites came back and it ain't nobody there.
That's what I was telling you earlier. I was like, I feel like Levi's story ain't necessarily over, or he was the catalyst for a new story point coming up soon.
I just feel like the way that they did, I just feel like him showing up episode 1 and then him showing up in episode 8 and then we disappearing for 3 months. The disconnect.
It didn't give.
It didn't give.
I feel you. But I got a new favorite character, and it's Cecil. I feel like everybody loves to hate Cecil. I'm sorry. Cecil really be trying to do what's best for everybody.
Cecil don't be there for real. He'd be a hologram. For all we know, Cecil could be a hologram this whole time.
Cecil tries to help everybody.
Cecil does what's best for Earth. I'm gonna say that, and I guess that's a good thing if you look at it. But as individuals, Cecil don't give a fuck about them people.
Here's what I'm saying. He did care about Donald.
He only wanted that baby to run tests. No matter what the fuck he told that woman, he was gonna run tests all through that little baby. That's Holly knew that, which is why she didn't want to give the baby up. Even though she knew she really couldn't take care of that baby, she knew Cecil was gonna cut that baby open, made 3-4 clones.
Fair, but look at everything else. Look at everything else Cecil did. He still cared about old girl's mental state. He cared about Mr. Immortal's mental state.
But my thing is, but
jeopardizes Earth's safety.
That's what I was about to say.
But he just wasn't giving what pass just because Immortal was just thrown off. Immortal been thrown off. Immortal started fucking up the missions, and he was like, "Baby, we're gonna sit you down." He didn't care Immortal was thrown off just to be thrown off. He cared Immortal was thrown off and fucking up the missions and put Earth in jeopardy.
But that's what I'm saying. For people to hate the one person that is literally looking out for everybody. He's looking out for Earth. That includes everybody who lives on it. And everybody act like he the big bad boogeyman. That man been looking out for every single person. He's been looking out for every citizen, every alien that come through. Even Donald, when he erased his mind, Donald over here trying to figure out the truth. And he said, I'm looking out for you. You don't want to know. The second you find out, you're just going to delete your memories.
I couldn't agree.
He's been looking out for everybody.
I will say that Cecil, sometimes his heart is in a good place.
The
execution of how he does some of those things, he's like, okay, Cecil.
I feel like Cecil is like in the middle. Like you have these heroes that is doing like all this stuff based off like emotion, and then you have some of them that's doing stuff that's like not based on emotion at all. And I could agree with Ryan. Like Cecil is like the glue. Like, okay, everybody's spiraling, but what do I need to do to keep, everything else in check? And like and to agree with King, like some of the stuff he does is questionable, but I think at the same time, like what he's doing is for the better. Like he got to keep Earth safe. Like he been dealing with these heroes for a long time, and then with this situation with Omni-Man, he dealing with all these people that it's giving Batman.
That's what I was waiting to say. He is the Batman of the universe. Give him his flowers. He got redundancy plans for everything.
But Batman's executions don't be hurting people.
Batman pissed everybody off. Batman pissed everybody off.
We talking about the same Batman that got kill plans for everybody in the Justice League
and told him that. At least Cecil ain't say that.
I'm just saying, like, when Batman, from what I've seen with Batman, when he goes about doing stuff, he tries his best to minimize casualties. Cecil don't give a fuck who died as long as he gets to the end goal.
Wait,
he literally said, "Hey, there's a boat right there, kid. Hey, kid, watch what you're doing. Don't bring them Martians over here."
I would say when it comes to any other planet other than Earth, Cecil does say, "Fuck them kids," because he didn't want Mark to follow the bug guy to that planet. But when it comes to Earth, Cecil be like, "Hey, y'all chill out. It's people here."
And that's fair. Who said you got to be Mr. Philanthropist for every single other planet when you got to worry about your own? Some got to give. I ain't finna make this political about what's going on in real life.
His heart is in a good place. And for the overall bigger
I would
picture
agree.
of Earth, Cecil does be looking out, but some of the stuff Cecil be doing, it just be like, come on, Cecil.
I would agree.
Come on,
and I just feel like it comes down to sometimes I feel like with him just being like the head, like being like quote unquote responsible for all these superheroes, he has to make some tough decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm shouting him out because he's the one that makes them. He actually makes them.
Because like for you to have control, like for you to be like head honcho all these superpower beings that could easily break your back in half. So like, yeah, he does make some questionable decisions, but I always look at Cecil's character like he's the character to make them tough decisions, and it's gonna be like, oh, I hate that you had to do that, but I understand why you had to do that. Because if we had you not sent Immortal on vacation, he was probably gonna mess some more stuff up.
But Cecil is that reminder that even though not everything is black and white, but sometimes your decisions are bad and bad. Pick your bad. And he's the only person that's willing to pick a bad and deal with the results. Mark ain't mentally strong enough and emotionally consistent enough to do that. And not a single one of them other teenage heroes and young 20-year-old heroes, even not the Guardian who's 1,000 years old. I ain't never felt love like this before. Bro, you the closest thing we got to being as strong as Invincible or Omni-Man. We ain't got time for you to be upset. Go relax. Get some therapy.
And the other thing that I want to discuss in regards to Cecil, and like when King was talking about the baby and how he wanted, even though what he told Debbie, we knew he was going to run some tests and stuff, but I can't really blame him because now you have a second half Viltrumite on your planet. The first full Viltrumite cut up so bad that Chicago basically got decimated. So then it's like he's also dealing with the aftermath of everything that's happening with Omni-Man. And I would feel like in the position that he's in, it would have been careless for him to let this another half Viltrumite baby come up and not do his due diligence. Now I will give him points that when Debbie told him no, he backed up. There might be some repercussions to that coming in the later seasons, but he's
still human and got emotion.
He did let her have it. They didn't show up in the middle of the night and kidnap them. He could have easily showed up with all them folks in them guns, with them suits. They'd just be popping up and disappearing when they feel like it, and took that baby to that facility and started running them tests, because that would have been him doing his due diligence. But he let her have it.
And look at what he did with the babysitter. Remember when Debbie kicked out that old lady? Oh, I know what one of Cecil's spies is. Oh, no. Cecil sent you the spy. And as the babysitter, she told you. And she's the best option. Cecil be looking out for everybody to the best of his ability. That's a cold dude, bro.
I just compare him to Batman because a lot of like certain situations, Batman does make the decision where everybody wants to beat his head in. And sometimes it's the best decision. And like if you go through like his whole like psychology or whatever, he does some of the stuff he does because he's the only human one there.
And someone got to make the decision. Let's just be real. It ain't peaches, sunshine, and unicorns. If you had a Superman right here, you have to ask yourself, he defend us now. What happens when he don't? What happens when he attacks us? Cool, he defends us now. We need insurance. The world ain't perfect, and ain't no human being or alien perfect.
And Omni-Man showed him that. I mean, like, he has to take the proper precautions. Like, Omni-Man showed up and he was saving people and he was doing his due diligence, and then one day he just snapped.
Cecil the realest one here, bro.
I agree, but Cecil ain't got no precautions for nobody. It takes for one Viltrumite to come, and that's all Cecil got. You heard what he told Mark when that missile popped up. Listen, let Miss Girl say what she got to say and get on down. We ain't got nothing for us.
But do you feel like he said that because of what happened between Omni-Man and the last time Mark confronted a Viltrumite? His head got ran through a train and other people's bodies. Chicago got done in.
And Mark is the closest thing they got to a deterrent to Viltrumites. Mark is the closest thing to a deterrent.
If we're going to compare Cecil to Batman, that's why I say even in that aspect, he's not a Batman because Cecil don't got no fallout plans for all these things that are fallout that are happening.
He need time to he need time to create.
But what if
Batman found kryptonite on Earth?
But but what if he does though? Just because you have the fallout plan, don't mean hey Mark, go fight this Viltrumite because we got a backup plan. Like you would want to minimize damage.
He literally said in season 1 that he has no defenses against a Viltrumite. That's what he told him. But when Nolan turned, he was like, "We ain't got nothing. Invincible and Immortal is all we got." So,
but here's why
if we gonna put him up there with Batman, we need to make him do a little more work. If a Viltrumite do,
but I mean, he might have it now. He's
putting in the work. Batman had to find kryptonite. Cecil probably wanted Mark's little brother so he could get the Viltrumite blood cells to create a Viltrumite clone.
Nolan been on Earth for years. Cecil, you ain't been working on that.
Who says Nolan was willing to listen? Who said Nolan was willing to listen to him? I need some of your blood cells, Nolan.
I was just gonna say, coming into season 2, based on what happened, he probably does have some defenses now. I would agree with King when Omni-Man did show up. What was y'all doing for these past 20 years that Omni-Man was walking around here? It could have been that they trusted Omni-Man and they didn't think he was gonna be on no BS. And that would be a difference between him and Omni-Man, but that would be in Batman, but that would be a positive difference between him and Omni-Man because Cecil actually trusted Omni-Man to not be on no F shit. But Batman, when Superman showed up, he definitely did not trust that man. He definitely has kryptonite in his back pocket, even though they boys. He definitely has kryptonite in his back pocket.
And here's the thing: it might not be as simple as kryptonite. Cecil's redundancy plan might sacrifice half the world in the process. You got to think about that type of stuff because that's a hard decision. Hey, like nuclear warfare. If I send out a nuclear bomb, that's destroying nations. And I might get one right back. You don't want to do that. Even if you got that redundancy plan to someone else's threat, you don't want to release it. So Cecil might have a backup plan and it's not a good one. It's the best one he could make. But that don't mean he want to use it.
Yeah.
That's a good leader.
I get what.
A lot of shit that's happened to that city. The city alone, that Cecil, they was going to be out of luck if Nolan, when them aliens invaded. But Nolan hadn't come through and cut up and went to the dimension and killed the king, the alien king, that man is probably going through that city and act for the fool.
And what would have happened if Cecil wasn't? And if Cecil didn't get Nolan to work, what would have happened?
Was the Guardians and the Guardians' laws.
If Cecil wasn't there, what would have been better? What would have been better? No Cecil or Cecil? What is the world without Cecil? It would have been destroyed.
I feel what you're saying, but I just feel like Cecil, he not up there with Batman. Maybe he can get up there, but Cecil, to me, he's shady. He like to hide stuff.
Batman is shady. Batman is shady.
Batman is the king of shade, and he rich. Cecil at least works for the government.
There's a whole movie of how Batman has kill plans for the whole Justice League, and did not tell them until the villain showed up, stole his plans, and started enacting it.
I feel what y'all saying, but y'all just not convincing me that Cecil is on Batman's level.
Hey, Batman is also a billionaire who doesn't have respect for the government. He could listen to the government when he feels like a Cecil works on behalf of the government. He works for them. Batman don't.
I am only comparing Cecil to Batman because in their universes, they are the ones that make the hard decisions, whether everybody likes it or not. And 9 times out of 10, people be pissed at them, but it's the decision that has to be made. Batman makes the decisions that have to be made. Cecil makes the decisions that have. That's the only line I am comparing them on.
But when I'm
everybody
saying, just because you
think they're holier than thou, but that's not the real world.
I mean, cause I understand that, but just because you make those decisions, you choose between bad and bad. Like this, like, should we praise that though? Like,
yes, because if you don't pick one of the two bads, you know what you get? Worse. There's sometimes you can't win. Sometimes you cannot be the objective, holier than thou good guy. That's not how the real world works.
I wasn't necessarily.
I'm just not convinced on him yet.
I wasn't necessarily praising it because Batman does a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily praise. Like my whole example that I just gave. Like, do we praise Batman for that? That he has backup plans for killing off the people that
I did
him the most.
Portia, you praised him for that. You have.
I'm praising him now because that's smart. Why would you be stupid? Who said you should trust someone that's not from your planet?
I'm just not convinced on Cecil yet because I mean everybody around him is falling apart. The press going through shit. I'm just not convinced.
But I just feel like. I feel like everybody's doing what is it called? I feel like everybody's doing damage control. Everything is falling apart. Omni-Man then pulled up and after 20 years of knowing Omni-Man, he then flipped on a switch, then beat up Mark, then left the planet. These Viltrumites are just coming in and out of Earth. All like the Guardians of the not Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardians of the Globe are falling. The Guardians of the Globe are falling apart. This Viltrumite baby that showed up. Now we got Donald's whole thing. Like everybody's trying to do damage control, and I feel like this is the moment that somebody has to make the decision, whether we like them or not. Somebody got to make some decision.
And because if you don't make the decision, the world's going to make a decision for you, and that's going to be the Viltrumites invading.
I mean, we might get to the next season. You might get to the next season and still don't like Cecil because of some of the decisions he's making. But I don't think it still deters from the fact that Cecil is making the decisions that's gonna keep Earth in check, or at least minimize the casualties as much as possible.
I'm gonna say this. Cecil, he does what he does to protect Earth. I just still think he's a shitty person,
and that's fine.
That makes the hard decision,
and that's fine. Because if we want to go back to the Batman comparison, there are several people who think Batman is a shitty person. Several people.
And here's what I'll say: being a hero or being a good leader doesn't mean you got to be a good person. Because guess what? Mark is a good guy, but he barely done saved anybody yet. But he only got off on luck.
I just feel like it should be more good than bad in you if you're going to be a leader.
If you only got two bad decisions, I hope you got enough bad.
To me, yes, Cecil make those tough decisions that save Earth.
But I feel like,
Cecil's still a shitty person. Like when you
all of that, what makes him a bad person? Tell me, what would you do when you got two bad decisions and you can't look for a good one? You got two bad decisions, and if you don't make one, you get the results of what the world picks, which is worse. What do? You pick one. There's no other option. And if you got to pick multiple bad decisions, people are going to call you a bad guy.
And I'm saying if Caesar wasn't in the position he was now, he's still a shitty person as an individual. He's a shitty person. Like the way he handles people, the way he goes about in the series, he's a shitty person. Yes, he makes those tough decisions to protect Earth, but Cecil is a shitty person because if he wasn't a shitty person, more people would like him.
Tell me where he's been a mean person. Tell me where he's been an objectively bad person to somebody. With Mr. Immortal, he said, "Hey, bruh, regardless of his intentions, he gave the same advice a good person would have said. You're not mentally stable. You don't need to be out on that work field endangering yourself, your friends, your family, or the world. Go enjoy yourself. Go take a break. Hey, Debbie, you stressed out. You sure you don't want us to help you out? We can take care of the kid. We can send you some people to help you out. We're going to rebuild your house. We care about you. Yeah, your husband, who we really gave you money for, he gone. But we still going to take care of you till you die. Because Debbie just started working again."
Let me counter that. Immortal came to him and said he wanted to leave, period.
Cecil did tell him no.
Because he can't.
Fuck that. Go take you a break in the Bahamas and come back in the month. For Debbie, and Debbie said he built Debbie in the house to keep an eye on her to make sure she still wasn't talking to Nolan. That's the only reason he built that lady in the house.
And okay, so you know what?
She even knew it. She even knew it because she said she was like, the only reason you doing all this season was to keep tabs on me because you think I'm talking to Nolan, which I'm not.
So he's being
ulterior motives for all of those things. He just didn't just do those things because I'm a good person. Let me send you on a hiatus.
What's the ulterior motive? What's the core of that ulterior motive? What's the foundation behind it? To protect others. Is that not an objectively good trait? To protect those who are weaker, to protect those who are lesser, to protect your people.
But I see what King is saying, like the way that he's going
to go downhill. It can get shaky because he's exploiting Immortal. He didn't want to let Immortal quit officially because yes, we need you for Earth instead of training some new superheroes to come up behind Immortal. Let this man go. No matter how many breaks this man take, he's going to be mentally unstable. This man has died numerous times, has watched the love of his life die. No matter how many breaks he take, he's not going to be back there. So let's just let him go. Immortal, retirement, go ahead and go. We got it from here. We got it. But instead, he was like, you know what? Let me give you a paid vacation. You come in next week. How about that? Because we need you. And
that's what they do in the real world.
But I feel
that's not right.
Okay.
That's exploitation. I don't agree with that.
People who live 77 years old, they gotta feed their kids. If they loved one died, they gotta go back to work. Come on now.
I feel like if Cecil was such a good person that you're making him out to be, when Immortal came in and was like, I'm done with this, he would have let him go. He'd have been like, you know what, bro? You're right. You've done a lot.
But
I ain't saying he's necessarily a good person. I'm saying he ain't a bad one either.
But I also
he ain't nearly as bad as what y'all saying.
But I also feel like that goes back to the whole damage control thing that I was getting at. Now, my opinions on the Immortal situation is that I think he was going off on a limb and giving Immortal a break, but I don't think he wanted Immortal to go at all because what we said a while back, what King said, his only defenses, which could still be his only defenses against the Viltrumites, is Immortal and Invincible. And Mark, we've already said that Mark is having some inner conflicts with himself anyway. So if we want to take Mark out, then you got Immortal. And it's like, no, I can't physically let you go because if these Viltrumites come back, we're done. But I will give you, this opportunity to go on vacation and, chill out. So I see that from two different sides. Like him just flat out telling him no. It was like, okay, Cecil, this man going through some stuff. But I also see it from the perspective that if he was to let Immortal go and the Viltrumites came back and the only defense they have is Mark, we in trouble. So
emotional hormonal 20-something
wait, because now I want to talk about Debbie. I didn't let y'all go. Didn't let y'all go back and forth. It's my turn. Listen to me. Now with the Debbie, with the Debbie situation, I do agree with King that his execution on that could have been better. And because why you set up all these cameras in this lady house? But now I understand that you need to keep some tabs because you've been married to this man for 20 years. He could pop up and you be keeping him in the house and we don't know nothing.
She could be lying about not knowing what his true identity was. She could have been on his side the whole time.
But I just feel like
an interstellar spy.
And that's where I feel like him doing that is such a Batman thing to do because Batman would do the same thing. He would bug somebody. He would. He would bug somebody. But I feel like Cecil. I feel like Cecil be trying to play both sides. He tries to play like the caring, human being, but then at the other side, he has to be in this position and
a disciplinarian.
In his intent and the decisions he makes, that I would agree with King that sometimes they don't match up.
But that's the thing. Those things are polar opposites. At the end of the day, peace and war are total opposites. But guess what? To maintain peace, you got to go to war with the people whose peace is getting rid of you.
I just feel like
how it is.
I just feel like with the situation at hand, as it goes for Debbie, I don't agree with the spying and all the other stuff he was doing. But given the fact that Debbie was married to the same man that beat Mark to a pulp and decimated Chicago, I feel like maybe we should.
But
you slept in the bed with this man for 20 years. And you think I'm gonna let you
go
off?
Issues with Debbie, he approached her and talked to Debbie. With all the other issues he had with Debbie, with the baby, with all the other stuff, he came to Debbie as a human, was like, Debbie, let me talk to you. But all of a sudden, you didn't want to come talk to her. You wanted to put cameras in her house. You didn't want to have no conversation. Sit down, have tea with her, and be like, Debbie, are you still, how are you and Nolan?
But what if she lied?
Because she's no longer a regular human. She is the wife to an alien that could destroy our planet. She is the mother to another alien that could destroy our planet, and the stepmom for a third alien.
I get all of that. I get that, but he obviously saw how much
I feel like
took a toll on her as
but
well.
I feel like
beat the shit out of their son and called her a pet. Y'all think she just gonna run back to this man just in a blink of an eye? No.
She Mark did and knew the man lesser than Debbie did. That's his son. That's his daddy.
Well, Mark got tricked.
Mark still got beef with his daddy.
Mark got tricked.
And still was willing to take care of his daddy's new wife, other son, and care about him.
But because that was a whole separate different people. You gonna leave this whole planet to die because you got beef with your daddy?
He was tricked. Like they said, he was tricked.
He was tricked. He was tricked.
Mark would not have went. He'd be like, "Get the fuck off Earth. I don't want to hear from him." He was tricked.
I bet you $5 the second Omni-Man touch back on Earth, Debbie gonna be willing to talk to him.
But
she might slap him and snap her wrist. She gonna talk to him. Hey, baby, how you doing? I hate you for leaving me, but what you?
Go like that,
but I feel like,
and that's a risk. That's a risk to the planet.
I feel like I feel like half of our feelings with Debbie is coming from the fact that we're seeing like this whole situation from everybody's perspectives. But if we were seeing this situation from Cecil's perspective, I could wholeheartedly believe that he might think she's lying on the back end. But because we are seeing like Debbie's POV and we are seeing her deal with the fact that Nolan is Omni-Man and he did all this stuff, that we're coming from the opinion that no, Cecil, you didn't have to, spy on Debbie, because from what we saw, Debbie's not going to be on that type of time. But Cecil's not seeing all of that either.
But what I'm saying is, it blows me that he does it because the proof is in the pudding. You were standing right beside this woman when Nolan cut up. Side by side. You see how she reacted to that. You see how she reacted to all of this. You see how much that's hurting her. So why would you think for a second that she was still sleeping with this man after all she's been through? Y'all think women are that weak when it comes to him?
I wouldn't say sleep with him, but like say there was an episode, or say there's a situation where Omni-Man shows up in the house and they have a conversation, and Debbie may not give him the type of day. She may not say nothing, but then if he shows up and they do have a conversation, do we have full confidence that Debbie is going to turn around and tell Cecil that, hey, Omni-Man showed up at my house and we had a conversation?
I think so. With the evidence that we have in front of us, I think so. They're not like seeing. But my thing is, y'all not seeing what Omni-Man has put this woman through.
King. Let's make this realistic.
I'm not saying.
Let's make this about real life.
I'm not saying that she's going to disregard. I think you're coming from the perspective that we're going to look at it, and she's going to disregard everything and give Omni-Man the type of day. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if he was to show up, could there be a possibility that she may not tell Cecil at all that he showed up? Even though she may swear him off, that she not going to give him the type of day, or, whatever conversation they had, are we sure that she would turn around and tell Cecil what happened?
And here's my thing. Cecil is acknowledging objective reality. There is a such thing as human error. King, in real life, you got homegirls and homeboys who went back to somebody that with common sense, with logical thinking, they shouldn't have gone back to him. We've seen grown folks who are more mature than us, more experienced than us, make decisions that logically they should not make a decision, but human error messes us up. Human error messes us up every time. Every single time.
Homeboys and homegirls that watch their child get beat and watch the earth get cut up like the way that Debbie did.
Okay. All the guys and girls we've seen on documentaries. all these people we see a family member get excommunicate, eliminated through an ex or a spouse or anything else. We've seen all this stuff in documentaries and in human history. Human error will always set us back, and it got to be that one person who.
Credit though.
It's not about giving her credit. It's about looking at proof. The proof ain't just her. The proof is every human in the past. Cecil been alive and having to look after the earth for years. It's millions of humans, millions of potential mistakes. Debbie, oh cool, she cool now until she make a mistake. It might not be intentional. It might not have been direct. It could be indirect. Cecil says, I'm trying to prevent that because I got a planet to protect. Debbie only protecting her mental space, marking her stepkid now. Cecil got to protect billions. Come on now.
I get what you're saying.
Come on now.
What error could Debbie really make?
But that's going. But that's what I was getting at, and what Ryan's thing about indirect consequences. Because like if Omni-Man does touch down and talk to Debbie, and like her talking to him may not have like direct consequences, like he just didn't pull up and wreck, but him just showing up, like I guess like the repercussions, or maybe like the domino effect of him showing up and she not telling nobody, and then what would happen after that.
I don't see
wait, King, wait. In every other universe, Invincible sided with Omni-Man. Every other universe, he sided with Omni-Man. I wonder what would make you side with Omni-Man. It ain't you off and off your mother, huh? I wonder if one viable option is if I can get your mom to side with me, maybe you will side with me too, Invincible. Come on now.
Levi did say that in some universes, Debbie did side with Omni-Man. Levi did say that in that last episode.
But Levi also
indirect consequences.
The universe that they was in was a different circumstance, because that universe was the only universe that Mark didn't side with his dad. So we set the baseline
in the present time.
What consequences if Nolan wanted to just come down and apologize to Debbie and leave? But
I would say that maybe the fact that you have the whole Viltrumite society after him, because if Omni-Man shows up, who's to know he wasn't followed?
First of all, Viltrumites know Earth exists anyway because of Mark. So if Omni-Man wants to show up and want to have a sit down over dinner with his ex-wife and apologize to her and give her closure and leave, I feel like there's no consequences that will come behind that.
Well, let's talk about it. It's bad and bad. What's worse? Fighting against the Viltrumite Empire with Nolan and Mark and his other stepkid on your side, or fighting against the Viltrumite Empire when they got Nolan and Mark on their side? Come on now, it's both bad decisions. Yeah, we get that. But one is obviously and overtly worse than the other. That's why Cecil is over here trying to pick the best option.
So they're both gonna put cameras in this lady house and spy her.
I would say it is an invasion of privacy. I would also cuss out Cecil because why you got cameras in my house. But given the bigger picture, like the full situation, it was like, yeah, maybe we might want to watch this lady. But
Facebook been invading your privacy ever since you made an account.
Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. The cameras and the invisible soldiers was a bit over the top. He can tap phone lines. Cecil got all this technology.
But that's the same thing though. So we mad about cameras in the house, but we can bug somebody's phone and track all their phone calls. It's the same thing.
Who your phone network? King, who your phone network? Who your phone network? T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T.
No,
they've been invading your privacy. They got your text messages for 6 months.
I can bug my line, but T-Mobile ain't got no camera in the corner of my house watching what I'm doing right now.
What's the difference?
T-Mobile only can hear what I'm saying if I pick up my phone and make a phone call.
If you have yes, they can.
Your smartphone records everything.
You have a speaker.
You got a Google in your room.
If they
Apple.
All of them, they all got the same investors from BlackRock and Vanguard.
I guess to bring it back to Invincible, I don't think there is, in the discussion of invading Debbie's privacy, I don't think there was a clean-cut way for Cecil to invade her privacy where it's okay, whether it was bugging her phone, putting cameras in her house and invisible soldiers. all of it is an invasion of privacy.
He just shouldn't have done it. He just should have. You know what, Debbie?
No.
When you let me know that you over there on some fuck shit, then we'll get down to it. He didn't get a girl no chance.
It's possible.
Why should he?
I feel that. But also,
why should he? Tell me why he should. Tell me.
Like what? She fell in love with a superhero.
Everybody on Earth is a human too. Everybody else on Earth is a human too with families and loved ones.
So she should be criminalized because she fell in love with a superhero who turned bad and destroyed the world. So we should.
The minority versus the majority. Who do you pick? And you can't pick both.
I guess.
Pick. No, who would you pick? You can't pick both. Minority versus the majority.
Why can't you pick both of them?
I would just.
You playing with me?
But I feel what you're saying, though. Right?
I feel what both of y'all are saying. I just feel like the situation overall. I think the proper way or the easy way would have been like, hey, let's just trust Debbie, and when Debbie shows us that she can't be trusted, let's take some additional measures. But I also feel like, given the situation at hand, given on who we're dealing with, what if by the time we realize that Debbie's on a different type of time, it's too late? Now, given what we've seen of Debbie, because as we've been following the internal conflict with Mark, we also been following the internal conflict with Debbie. We can see. We can form an opinion that maybe she won't be on that type of time. But Cecil hasn't seen that internal conflict.
Ralph, Ralph, she did help them fight Nolan. That's what I was saying. Like, I just don't feel like. I feel like he should have definitely gave her a chance based on what she went through.
And that's fair.
The grace. She should have been given that grace. So let me see.
That's fair. But also, do you feel like maybe he didn't want to take that risk because he also trusted Omni-Man? Like, if we want to go back to season 1, we just talked about the fact that Omni-Man we just talked about the fact that Omni-Man was on Earth for 20 years and he didn't have like a backup plan. He didn't
share room full of Blerds comment. Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen.
Sir, if Amber and Mark worked out, but Mark ended up doing the same thing as Nolan, what would you say then?
Would you say that Cecil should have kept a bug in Mark's ear and watching his every decision?
To your point is, Debbie married a Viltrumite. She's still a human at the end of the day. So her thought process and Nolan's thought process is not going to be the same. Just because they might be similar because they're married, but it's not going to be the same. So how Nolan thinks is not necessarily how Debbie is going to think. Is at the end of the day, Debbie is still a human that grew up on Earth, that has human DNA, who has human ties to Earth. Nolan does not. So whatever decisions he made, he didn't give a fuck about Earth. Debbie, in fact, does give a fuck about what's going on. So her decisions wouldn't have been like Nolan's at all.
Let's do this. Debbie is essentially now more dangerous than Cecil. She has the love, regard, and honor of 2 Viltrumite hybrids. Mark and his brother, who's probably going to be a full-grown adult in less than 2 years. That she has now become the liaison to 2 of the biggest threats to Earth alongside the rest of the Viltrumite Empire. Yeah, I want to keep an eye on the woman who has raised 2 Viltrumites because they will care about her before they care about me.
Before all of that. He bugged her before that baby.
I bet he did. Because she was the mother of one before.
On the scene.
I bet he did.
I would agree.
For real.
I would agree.
Told Debbie to her face that I never loved you. You was a pet that was here to have my kids. So Nolan might not even come back and look in Debbie's face.
And look, now we got the
he definitely just got to the end of the season and said he missed his wife.
Wait. Stop right there, Food. Just like I said earlier, human error. Debbie sat down and cried. Why do I miss him? Why do I still think about him? And look at Nolan after calling her a pet. Dang, why am I thinking about Earth? Dang, I miss her warm arm, her warm embrace on me at night. That's human error. Cecil is trying to prevent that. He's trying to prevent any form of human error that can stick its way in and destroy the Earth.
I would agree with Ron. The fact that her son and her ex-husband are built like she got a type of access to them that Cecil will never have.
But what I'm saying, y'all
and she raising that baby.
Yeah, but y'all are paying Debbie out, even though she's unstable. Y'all paying her out like she's a bad, evil person.
I never said she was a bad.
But
I said she's
she
human.
has access to Viltrumites now. What's she gonna do with that? Y'all think she's gonna take over the world?
I said she's.
Son?
But
I said she's human and she's flawed. Is that an insult in your eyes? Me saying that she's human and flawed.
What I'm saying.
Answer that.
What I'm saying is that she could. I'm not saying that she would tell them to go out and like do some F shit, but she has their ear to where she could say something that her opinion could be like the conversations that she's had with Mark, where Cecil tells him one thing and Debbie sits down and has another conversation, and then he leans on the side of Debbie. And I can understand.
Okay,
but
I get that. But us and Cecil both know what type of person Debbie is, though.
That she's a flawed human being like everybody else.
If you can remember, every time she's in Mark and Nolan's ear, she's always telling them to do the right thing, regardless of what they're going through. She's always been a voice of reason for her husband and her son.
Showroom full of Blerds coming. Showroom full of Blerds coming because she's spitting. She's spitting. Put Kira on the stream. Keep it up. Keep it up. Read that. Read it out loud for me, King.
But y'all ain't gave me a bad decision that she would make that would jeopardize Earth.
We're trying to prevent them. We're trying to prevent. That's Cecil. He's preventing them. It's prevention. Even in medicine, there's two ways to approach curing a disease. Well, two options to responding to a disease: prevention or cures. Sometimes you can't have both.
Hold on. Prevention is not medicine. Prevention is public health, which is my field.
Public health.
Go ahead.
I guess.
So when you got prevention and a cure, there's no cure. So what can you do? Find a prevention. There's no cure to once you destroy all of Earth.
I guess.
But what I'm saying is, if I don't have the recipes to have diabetes, a doctor is not going to try to prevent me from getting diabetes because there's not.
She got the recipe.
So
she got the key ingredients.
To help. She's not going to do that. So I get your thing, but what I'm saying is, well, we know Debbie as an individual person. Yes,
I just feel like,
but she's a good person at the end of the day.
We've
seen the times where her decisions were going to put Earth in jeopardy, and she still was the voice of reason for her husband and her son.
I just feel like
women are multifaceted. Don't put Debbie in a box. She can be a good person and she could be a bad person.
I would just say that maybe the whole situation with the cameras in the house is not a Debbie cause, but more of like an Omni-Man type thing. Like this is just the aftermath of us not locking down on Omni-Man being a Viltrumite on Earth on all these years. So now it's kind of like we gotta pull in the reins on everybody, because it was the same. He pulled the reins in on Invincible. Like, I'm in your ear 24/7. Like, if you want to go out and save people, I gotta be in your ear 24/7. We know that Mark's not gonna go out here and just start murking people, but Cecil took the precaution because of just what Omni-Man did. So I think it's coming down to the fact that it's not Debbie. Everything is not Debbie. He probably knows that Debbie is a good person, but it's not Debbie. It's just the fallout and the aftermath of all of this Omni-Man stuff that we really have to pull in the reins on everybody to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
I feel that. And maybe had he marketed it as, I want to keep you safe, Debbie, and I got these cameras in your house in case he pull up and want to kill you. But even then, if Mark Nolan was to pull up, what can they do? But the way he marketed it,
I understand.
Didn't sit right with me.
And I understand that.
The way you're going about this, it's a slippery slope, because you in this lady house talking about you think she's sleeping with the husband that just ripped her life in half, instead of telling her we watching you to keep you safe. It just didn't fit.
And I can get that. And I can get that maybe Cecil, like, he lays it on pretty thick. Like, his accusations be like a little bit thick, like, come on. But I think all of it, and even though he may not seem like it, because like out of all of the characters, Cecil does look like the most composed out of everybody. He could like internally be losing his shit, but it's just like the fallout of all of this Omni-Man stuff. They got everybody going every which way, but still.
I got faith in my girl Deborah. My girl Deborah, that Asian lady Deborah, she gonna do her big one. I feel like I just feel like, wow, Deborah is Debbie.
I would say this.
Key piece defeating them.
I would say this though. If Debbie ever chooses to turn on Cecil, I think I would agree with Ryan and Roomful of Blerds that she would be a problem.
She would have more power than him
because she does have motive to go to like basically say F Cecil, based on what you've told us and what we discussed. If she wanted to say F Cecil, she has the resources and the means to do that.
I feel you, but what Cecil has put her through and what Nolan has put her through, what Cecil has put her through doesn't equal up to what Nolan has put her through. So I don't see her saying F Cecil, let me go to Nolan for you to kill Cecil.
I wasn't saying like she would go to Nolan. She still has Mark and she still has that half Viltrumite purple baby.
And also all the good Nolan put her through before all of that ain't all the good that Cecil has done either. We can only focus on the bad, but humans are multifaceted. She has 19 years and 364 days prior to this of good memories. That is a flaw. That's human nature.
All this discourse is to say I'm excited to see how this progresses for season 3.
Me too.
I'm excited to see how this progresses for season 3. Because based on what Levi did to Debbie might be done. Debbie might be so done. Debbie might be so done with the bullshit that it's no telling how any of this stuff and all of it leads back to Omni-Man. Everything that everybody has done in this season, how everybody's been affected, everybody's choices and decisions leads back to Omni-Man cutting the fuck up at the end of season 1.
That's why I feel like she's not gonna be on his side. I don't feel like she's gonna be on his side. You didn't sit this baby. I gotta take care of this baby. This man that came in here and kidnapped me and this baby, broke my arm. All because you're wreaking havoc in other universes. Like, it's crazy. I just don't feel like I don't see it.
And just to cut it, because we touching at 2 hours, I would be interested to see how all of this progresses. Because
title the episode Cecil is the hero, because obviously that's going to get a lot of controversy. You got to play the YouTube. No, that's a YouTube game. That's not to be against you. That's YouTube game. Titles garner clicks. Gotta do the clickbait.
They sure gonna click like who the hero?
Exactly. Cecil is the hero. That's the title right there.
Kira, it's all love. Ryan know I love him. It's like going back and forth.
Me and Galvin argue all the time.
It's always when it's just me. Like they always want to do back and forth when it's just me.
We argued in front of other folks.
Not like how y'all always do it when it's just me. And I'd be like, okay, y'all.
I disagree. You're acting like Cecil right now. I disagree.
No, it always be me, and I just be sitting. I be trying to rein y'all in, and then Galvin get the fixing his hat, and I'd be like, "Oh, there it goes."
Because what are you talking about?
Ryan fixed that microphone, and I'd be like, "Okay, here we go."
Gotta make sure it's catching me.
But all that being said, going back to Ryan's earlier comment. I think season 2 was very plot heavy. It set up a lot of things. I'm excited what they do for season 3. They just got renewed for season 4 and season 5. If you have watched the Invincible comics, if you could give us
nothing.
I would say based on some of the theories we had, if you could let us know if we on the right track. Don't spoil nothing, but let us know if we on the right track with some of the theories that we got. And yeah, I would ask y'all if y'all had anything else to say, but we had 2 hours, so y'all just said what y'all had to say.
Did we hit everything on the hot topics itinerary? Because we did.
I think so.
Yeah, we did. We
covered the whole season. We talked about the whole season.
At it. Even with y'all back and forth, we touch
a lot of stuff. See, that's good. You know, me and Ryan, our back and forth teases out a lot. So
it's just sometimes I just gotta reel y'all in, because when Ryan starts talking about T-Mobile, and I'd be like, okay, Ryan. And then you answer him. That's the part that pissed me off. What phone service you with? That does not matter. I'm with T-Mobile. That does not matter.
Because we gonna let each other get our points across. We gonna hear each other point if we disagree.
Like, they don't have T-Mobile. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Ralph did, because Ralph said get back on topic.
As soon as Ryan had asked who you with, AT&T or T-Mobile, and I was like, I'm with T-Mobile. I think.
Because it was to make a point. It was just to say, like, regardless of who you win, they already got your data. They already spiked.
But what does that? But what point does that prove in the terms of Invincible?
because he was talking about Cecil's spying on him. I'm like, every company you work with now, every tech company spies on you. I don't care what they produce on TV. They got your data, all of them.
This was a good conversation. I will say that I do enjoy my back and forth with Ryan. You know, it'd be nice.
Join us next time on Back and Forth. I'm gonna call
this back and forth with Ryan and King.
We need to start a segment. We just get on there and talk.
Well, that'll be fine.
They just argue. The live stream just started. They in mid argument. Like, what are we talking about?
Look, forget this isn't your average versus Tuesday. This is versus every day. That's fire.
I think they would tune in though. They like when we go back and forth. They be into it. They just saw Kira and Ralph was inserting their comments in between. You know,
until y'all started talking about instead y'all talking about T-Mobile. Then Ralph got back.
Ralph probably dropped from the call at that point.
He said, "See, here they go again. Click.
Here they go, and this why I enjoy with them."
Because Ralph Shaw would have sat there and been like, "Why are we talking about T-Mobile?" But we're gonna go ahead and shut this down. So once again, thank you, Ryan and King, for joining me on another episode of the Blerd Mob Podcast. I want to thank everybody who watched. I want to shout out Antoine/David, who was here earlier, room full of Blerds, and Ralph for commenting and participating in the discussion. What was I gonna say? Make sure you guys follow us on our social media platforms. So the score sheets for Invincible Season 2 should be dropping tomorrow. So you guys will be able to see our official scores in terms of plot, animation, the characters, etc. So yeah, follow us on IG at the Blerd Mob Pod. Follow us on Twitter at the Blerd Mob, and you can find us on Facebook and TikTok at the Blerd Mob Podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you're watching us on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you like the video, share the video, and like the page. Check out our recent episodes just to let everybody know we are dropping recorded mob reviews for Solo Leveling and Shangri-La Frontier. Those are coming up pretty soon. So make sure you check out our link tree to make sure you get those updates. And if you're feeling so generous, make sure you send us a donation on Ko-fi. This goes to equipment, the software, and everything that we use to bring you guys these lovely episodes, to bring you guys these King versus Ryan debates. But with all of that being said, this was some good discussion. We'll be back for Invincible Season 3. And this is the mob checking out. Peace.
Hands up if you loving where you at, stand 10 toes down, shot ain't no looking mad. You can let them haters hate when they enter where I'm smiling, I just tell them life's